Coach, lots of things to talk about here in this one. Obviously, high output for offense, but shutting those guys out at 14 points early in the game, that was a big part of it.
Yeah, and we said going into this, defense would feed the offense and offense would feed the defense. So getting a few 3-and-outs early, I think, fed the offense, and I think the offense putting those points up on the board, making them completely almost one-dimensional, from the start was really, really important, not letting them get any run game going whatsoever. So proud of the way the guys just embraced that, where this is a team game, and both phases had to step up today against a good team. So really pleased with the effort.
Yeah, rushing game, outstanding. Adam Jones back, had a really good afternoon.
Yeah, I think we felt like we'd have some real good opportunities to run, and then the weather was the way it was. So running's all weather, and there was moments in time where the passing game was probably tricky in that game, whether it was the rain, the wind. But the run game is going to stand up to whatever. So to get that going and to get that going early, and to really establish that from the start, I think it was credit to our offensive line, credit to the the coaches on that side of the ball just with the scheme, and then the backs certainly are the benefactors. But Adam's been running the ball fine all year. He hasn't had the opportunities maybe, and hopefully this will get everybody beyond that thought that what's wrong with Adam. Adam's he's a good football player. He's a really good football player, and that showed up today.
You said you felt like you had some good opportunities to run. Why specifically? What with the matchup?
We had a good running game. We had good backs. Our O-line's coming around. I mean, probably that simple.
Julius and especially Adam today were breaking a lot of tackles. I guess what did you think of just they were able to do yards after contact?
Yeah, we got them in a little more space today consistently, and Justin made just enough throws in that first half at the same time. So I think formationally, I'm certain we did some things, and obviously using motion, and I think we got Justin going in the run game a little bit. So all those things lend itself to getting those guys opportunities, and I think highly of those two backs, within the grand scheme of things, and we give them enough opportunities. We're gonna have days like this.
And then Idaho State get some explosives on the other end. How do you feel like your guys' run game was able to kind of keep some momentum on your side through that stretch?
Yeah, I think it was 20-14, and we needed a drive, and we put together that drive, and really, and there was run game, pass game within that. I think it was really raining during that stretch, so that was the offense really picking the defense up. Because we were up 14-0, we had the ball, we didn't do anything, then they scored, and okay, this is gonna be a game. It's 14-7, and then we scored, then they scored. But I thought in that stretch we just, again, this team hanging in there and believing in one another. So offensively, to get that drive put together. And then really the drive before the half to open up to 20 points, and it was the fourth down conversion in there. We were able to eat all that time up. I know they used all their timeouts to try to create another opportunity. That could look a lot different if we have to punt. They get a score before the half, then they have the ball coming out of the half. So that sequence, just the second quarter, there was some back and forth, but I thought, offensively, we did a lot of things just to take the control back.
Coach, I know sorry about that. I know a lot of times it's a question of who you're playing or what have you, but I thought it was probably your best performance from an offensive line stand, particularly in the running game. A lot of big holes there and everything else. Talk about the offensive line a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a group that's continuing to come along. I think each and every week we look and say, okay, they're making strides. And I think too, we got a primarily new coaching staff on the offensive side. So even putting together the run game plan and complementing it with what we've done and what we're doing in the pass game, that's all part of the process too. Yeah, the credit starts with the offensive line. We have good backs, so we give them opportunity. We're going to be in good shape. But that was what we needed today, given the conditions, given how just being able to possess the ball, stay on the field, and keep their offense off the field. That was going to be such a big factor, and I think we really executed that well today.
Second straight week where your guys got their composure tested a little bit, had a couple of big plays, but the defense was able to hold together. What can you say about that?
Yeah, I think it's a team that continues to find its way. Meaning, hey, things are going to happen. Good teams we're going to play. They're going to make plays. It's just part of the deal. So how do we respond from that? They might even score, and they did today. That's where I thought the defense set the offense up early. With just how it went, and then offensively we really answered their scores, and just that stretch where we kept the ball as long as we did, and then opened the lead up again. Can't say enough just about that the complementary aspect of how we played today, because that's a really explosive offense. And they got some yards, but they get some points, and we turned them over a bunch of times, and ultimately, you win by that margin. That wasn't an easy task. That team has really played well against some good teams. So proud of the way we performed today.
Adam seemed like he'd been rushing well at points, at least even back to the Mercyhurst game, and he's gotten some chunk plays obviously the last 2 weeks. What do you think is it, how motivated has he been to be able to run?
Well, I think he's just a confident guy that's going to continue to take his opportunities, not get frustrated, I guess, and know that he's still, he's an opportunity away from making a play that we need, and just the way it played out today, he got a few more of those, and again, he's a really good player. He's confident, and all it takes is to get him in the open field here and there, and he's going to make the most of it.
Coach, Rocky's gotten a little bit more increased opportunities lately, obviously, and what does it kind of say about his growth and what have you seen from him the last 2 games?
Yeah, really mature for a young player. Just 7 games into his career here. Taking advantage of Hunter could have gone in an emergency, but we wanted to be smart about that. So increased opportunity for Rocky, and who he is as a competitor, complete confidence in him being able to take advantage of the opportunity. So it doesn't surprise me, I guess, for a young player like him to do the things he is. It is kind of what we expect right now, and glad we got him on our side.
Justin's first 4 touchdown game in his career, and one of them was to Julius. I think his first career receiving touchdown. So what can you say about those 2?
Yeah, I think Justin continues to get better. A wide variety of throws and plays. Mostly the play action RPO fashion, but then there was some, fourth downs, some third downs where we're throwing across the middle where he's got to see it correctly. It was one of those days where getting the ball downfield probably wasn't going to be plentiful for us. I know we took a couple shots, and that's maybe where we took a couple sacks in there, but ultimately a real solid day for Justin. And then Julius being on the other end, whether it's Julius or Adam, I think they're both really good ball catchers. So it was good to see Julius on the other end of one of those, because he hasn't maybe had that same opportunity.
Coach, you mentioned the defense setting the offense up early. Just how important was it to come out and score on those first 2 drives against a team that can score points in a hurry?
Yeah, taking the ball first wasn't our choice, so we did. We took full advantage of it. So that's the offense taking momentum. Then they got a 3 and out, and then we answered that with a score. Got another 3 and out, and then we didn't. But yeah, it was going to be about both sides of the ball doing everything they could to seize control, and I thought we did that from the start. And it wasn't that Idaho State went away. I mean, they cut it to 1 score a couple times, but ultimately we withstood that. And again, I think that's this collective effort of playing complementary football that we're really after on each and every week. So it takes on its own form against, or based on who you play and what they do and how it needs to play out. But I thought it was really important that we got them off the field and we stayed on the field through stretches in this game. And then obviously we didn't turn it over. They did 3 times, a huge stat. We were productive in the red zone. So all the things that we preached, hey, these things all need to play out, by and large they did today.
The defense for ISU obviously held those last 2 teams to very few rushing yards. Anything schematically you guys were able to take advantage of there?
I don't know if there's anything in particular. I think we really just said, we're going to lean into a running game. I think as we set the tone pretty well, so then I think we leaned into it a little bit more. I think the weather dictated that. So that early success to say, hey, we can go down this road, and then we really needed to because of the weather, I think had as much to do with it. And I think our guys are we're really hungry to keep this thing moving forward. And yeah, I don't think it was. I think we did some smart things schematically, but I don't know if there was any one thing that really exposed them.
Coach, good time for the bye week?
I believe so. Yes. Yeah, we're 7 in. You know, for the most part, we're pretty healthy, and I think at the same time, there's a cumulative effect of playing 7 games that this week will serve us well. And you know, 3 games into the conference season, you know, I think our ability to look at what we've done too, to really be able to, you know, jump in and self-scout. I think it's a good time to be able to do that. So yeah, you know, it's a good spot for us. I think we have some momentum. I know we got to go on the road 2 times out of this bye, but you know, it's the charge to our staff and our players to say, okay, how do we get better out of this next week? You know, how do we get stronger? How do we get healthier? And that's what we're gonna go after.
The linebacking core, Neil coming back, he had that big hit. Brock with the interception, and then obviously Cole and Price and those guys. How good do you feel just about the depth of that group?
Yeah, the depth has really evolved. I know, you know, going in that first game, it was a pretty big question mark. And you know, Neil's injury created opportunity. Guys took advantage. Cole probably in particular. You know, really like what Ryan Cray has been able to do. Xavier, and so bringing Neil back wasn't a matter of, you know, knocking any of those guys out. It was saying, okay, we're going to play with 5 guys. I know Brock's been on the outside of kind of the regular rotation, but this is his first go at linebacker, and he's just one of those guys that's going to find ways to make an impact, whether it's on special teams or, you know, getting that pick today. So yeah, excited for that group because it's looked quite a bit different in the last few years as we've primarily gone with 2 and 3 guys. So now we're out there with the ability to play with 5. Those guys all having an impact on special teams too. So excited about how far that group's come in a pretty short time.